Welcome back to part 2 of the Troy Bilt Horse 2412 belt replacement this time. First one was the carburetor. Just need to be adjusted. Catch that video right there. There. Somewhere up there. You know. So on the sides, there's a bolt here. There's another bolt there. And there's that one there that holds a pin in place. So we're going to start with those three on this side, and then we're going to go to the other side and do the same. Alright, so for this one and that one, you'll need a 9/16. So let's see if we can break those loose. This whole tiller's pretty cool. I've already had it going. Needs a, we decided let's replace the belt. Don't want his wife to go to till the garden next year and have the belt break. And I thought I was going to have to maybe tear the carburetor apart and clean it. But ended up, I just needed to adjust it. And it seems to sound good. So we're going to leave it as that. Alright, so that one's out. See if we can get this one. That one is being a booger. That's going to be a little bit of a problem. The whole pin is spinning. Let me see if I can tighten up this. That is loose. Alright. Let's see if I can tighten this one up to put pressure on that pin. Yeah, that was quite loose. So, now let's try it. That's better. Pin stays in place. So, do you have a tiller? Do you have a garden? What size tiller do you have? For me, I just have a couple raised beds and some pots that I put my stuff in. Haven't gone all crazy yet. Key word in that part was yet. Alright. So let's see if I can't get that out. Kind of a tight spot. So he said he didn't like the engine on this thing. He's not a fan of Tecumsehs. Where I really do like Tecumseh. My lawnmower I bought brand new when I bought my home in 2004 has the Tecumseh 5-horse. My snowblower also has a Tecumseh 5-horse. And I've not had a problem. How about you? You a fan of Tecumseh? I am. So let's pop this one out. Alright, so there is a nut on the back side of this one. I'll show that to you when I get it out. Apparently so you can adjust it to tighten it up more. So it is quite humid today. I think it's supposed to get like 90 degrees with a lot of humidity. We had rain at like 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning. So now it's getting real humid. I know, some of you are probably in the southern part of the country. You're probably down in Tennessee, Florida. Florida's probably laughing about with the humidity. Don't laugh, Florida. I talked to people that moved up to Minnesota from there. And they see humidity here is about the same as Florida. So quit saying you got more. Alright, let's go to the other side. Alright, so now we're on this side. Let's try that again. Pop this one out. I'm sure there's a quicker way. I could have gotten my impact in there with the extension, but now my hands are in your way. Alright, so this one I'm doing the lever here. This lever, that's what holds that on. So we'll continue working on that one. There we go. Pull it back and out of the way. Alright. Let's get this one up here. See if this one turns or if the pin... Yep, that one seems to be fine. Let's move you back in case this thing falls. So I think since my last video, I bought a new truck. I got a couple videos with my old truck, which was a 2007 Dodge Ram 1500. And back in June 2025, I bought a newer truck. Not brand new. I don't buy brand new. I bought used, but it's a 2021. And when I bought it, I had 19,000 miles on it. Pretty nice truck. I like it. Seems like it has a lot more to it than I feel I may ever need. How do you feel? I really actually kind of wanted to go back to a classic truck. Because with all this computerized stuff, I'm not a fan of it. I like stuff I can work on. And that where I don't need a computer degree. And so I wanted to go with a classic, like 70s, early 80s. And when you go that generation, I'm a Chevy person. Now, I'm a Ram guy, and I have been for quite a while, actually. Like 90s, I preferred. Didn't buy my first one. Actually, my first truck was in 2007, and it was a 2003 Dodge Ram 1500. Alright, so that one seems to be sticking. There we go. So, what do you drive? You got a truck? Which one do you prefer? Do you wish you would rather just go back to the classics of the 70s and 80s as well? You know, where things were simple to work on. My understanding, this new truck, I can't even do a brake job because the computer needs to be reset. And that's a problem. I just did a four-wheel brake job on my wife's Dodge Avenger. So, alright, so those are out. I should be able to move this out of the way. Right down there. Got a feeling I'm going to be taking those off, and then I can possibly pull the whole thing out of the way. So let me go see if I can find a wrench to fit that, because I'm sure my half-inch, my half-inch does fit. And there it is. So, what do you think? Does it seem like a lot of work for a belt? I do. I'm very lazy. That's why it's called Lazy Grandpa's Garage. Because I can be lazy. I think this old thing is worth it. So, alright, there is 2 washers on each one. Flat washer, lock washer. You know the drill. You've been there. You've done this, not specifically on here, but you've done these kind of jobs where it has those washers. Alright, so underneath there's a 3/4 inch bolt. And I believe there's a spacer right back there. So we're going to take that, finish taking that out. I've already started it. It would have been easier if I just grabbed a 3/4 inch socket and a ratchet, wouldn't it? But what fun is that? So, mind your way. Alright, let me finish taking that out and then I'll bring it back. Alright, so I put this bolt back in. This is where this was bolted on. There's a pin that goes all the way through to the bottom. That pin has to come out, and the same thing with the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put something underneath to push up on the pin. While I hit this with the impact, try to push it up out of there. So that's the goal. Let me get you repositioned where you can actually see. Alright, so I'm going to use my little impact. I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to take this underneath where the pin is, and I'm just going to try to push up on it. Just like that. And when it's out, I'll clean it up and I'll re-grease it and when I put it back in. So that's that side. Let's go to the other side and try that. Same thing. I'll put the original bolt back in there. And this pin was already spinning. Remember when I went to take this out, that pin was spinning? So it should come out rather simple. And I just lost my socket. Did you see where it went? No? You're not going to tell me even if you did, right? Let me find it and get you back. Alright, found my socket. Put the impact on there. Pin is spinning. And let's try to push it up through there again. Got it some of the way with my finger. There it is. The engine wants to come off. So, alright. Let me reposition you. Alright, so I'm going to try lifting up on the engine. See if I can pull this pin out by hand. And at that time, I should hopefully be able to lift the engine up, pull it back some, so that I can access that belt. Alright, pin is out. Get that out of the way. Alright. Let's finish getting this engine out of there. The belt is stuck there. So, let's see if we can get the belt off of the bottom pulley. And there we go. Engine's off. Lower you down. Can you see? There it is. So that's all off. I should probably degrease this thing for him, but I gotta leave something for him to do, right? I'm sure he's got a pressure washer. So now the belt's off. Belt don't look real bad. It's kind of glazed. Still showing a part number here. It's cut off where you really can't see it. See that? It's just on the edge. I looked it up. I found the manual online. And I found it. And it actually called for Troy Bilt 9245. That was the OEM part number that I found online. So it went to the back pulley, or the first pulley right here. There's another one closer to the engine. That's not the one. So we want this one. And wow, that's really fitting in there tight, just like it should. Alright. So that's that. Now I gotta lift it up and put it back in there. You're gonna leave all that work to this old guy, aren't you? You gonna help out at all or no? No? Alright. Now I gotta reposition you. You're really acting like maybe you're the lazy one. Because you won't even get up and switch seats to get a better angle. I have to keep doing it for you, right? Alright, yeah. Anyways. Alright, let's see if I can get this lifted up on there, get that belt to go in this back pulley here. Yeah. You know, this thing's a little heavy. Little heavy for this old guy. Now I gotta try to do this without breaking anything here. Alright, let me set this here and see if I can line that belt up now. Alright, I can't see. So, the belt is good on this side. How about over here? Belt good on this side? Alright. So now I gotta try to get those pins in and line up that belt, get everything something's not lining up. Didn't lift high enough. There we go. Alright, let me get that belt lined up and I'll bring it back. Alright, so both pins are in. They're both greased, so they slide up and down nicely. I put this one back in. That actually goes into the groove to lock it in so it can't go up and down. That one is tight. Now I gotta see if I can get this bolt out. There we go. I needed that. Alright, let's go lock the other side back in. Alright, so when I did the other side, I think it actually stopped recording on me. If it did, I do apologize. Hopefully it stays with this side. So what I did is I put my impact back on here, spin the whole pin, reach down here, push up, and I'm going to find where this finds the slot in there. When I put this bolt back in, it locks the pin into place. So now that it's nice and greased, it actually goes up and down nice. So I'm going to stick this there. I'm just going to slowly work it back down. Okay, so right there. I'm holding it down with this, with the pick. It won't go any further. So now I'm going to put that back in. So what do you think? Is this a lot of work for a belt? You agree with me on that? Although things were actually built better back then. Better metal, steel. Transmission in this thing is cast iron. You agree things were built better back then? I've seen some videos on YouTube from some that just like this. Same thing from 1972. That one was pretty cool as well. So, alright. Now we'll spin that nut, tighten that nut up. Now that everything's nice and tight. Alright. Let's see if I can get the bolt out of this one. The other side came out easy. The pin didn't move on me. There it is. Throw in grease. It's greased. Right there. Little booger. Alright. So that's that. I'm going to clean some of this grease off my hands and off of this stuff. And then we're going to try to put this back on. And then that should be it. So, let me clean up my hands and bring it back. Alright, so I'm going to start with the bottom one. And then it should maybe make the top ones easier. There is this spacer that goes on the back side of this. Let's give that a wipe off a little bit. Some of that old grease and grime off. See if I can get that. So, let's get this in there. Let's try that first. Stick that in there. Now if I can get that spacer, gotta get it lined up with that hole. Try to hold this up and line that up. Are you willing to get off your couch and come give me a hand? No? Alright. Leave it to the old guy. You're just like my kids. Leaving it for the old guy. Nah, my two boys, they're pretty helpful. It's, if I was to ask them their help, I assure you they're both right there to do it. So, Mom asks their help, oh yeah, they're right there. They will help Mom every time before me. That's the way it should be, right? Is that a sign we raise our kids right? I think so. Alright, I'm not going to tighten it all the way because I want to get those top ones. Now I'm going to try to get these ones back in. Guess I took those ones off and I didn't need to. But, you know, sometimes we do things the hard way. There's that one. That's not the one I wanted. This is. So what do you think? Have you been having a good summer? Or you've been busy like I've been and not really enjoying it. I'm about to go have some fun this summer. My wife and I are about to go on vacation. But she still has to put up with me. So is it a vacation for me or a vacation for her? I think me. We'll make it all about her. That woman works very hard. Alright, there's that one. I think that's it. Alright. Now we can go back up on top. Again, we just have to come back down. You know what? I'll just tighten it up. It'll work. And if it don't, worst I have to do is loosen this. Alright. It's nothing like using a 1/2-inch drive, right? That was the first socket I found in that size. Alright, let's go back up top. Alright, so I did have to go back underneath and loosen up that 3/4 inch bolt a little bit so I can get everything lined up. Alright, so both bolts are back in. I had to put them in with a wrench, which is fine. Cable's hooked back up. Got it adjusted, 3,200 RPMs. I don't want to go over that. I'm not sure what it calls for. Most lawnmowers, snow blowers call between 3,200, 3,600. I'm going to keep it right at 3,200. I don't want to over rev it. If it doesn't do good enough, then he can let me know. I'll readjust. Alright, slight problem that I'm having. I got to hook the lever back up, but as I go to push it forward, it doesn't want to line up with this hole. What's happening is back here, this rides on here. There's a wheel here, and it rides on there. Problem is when I go to push forward, this spring is causing too much tension. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop this spring off. I'm going to try to get those bolts in, and then I'll come back and get this. I already had this side on, but what happened is this wheel right here was sitting on this side of this, and it should be resting here. So I'm going to see if I can't get this spring off. If I can do this out of your way. Just like that. Now I should be able to get these lined up. That makes life easier. Yep, that one lines up. Alright, so this side is going. Before I get too carried away with tightening it up, I'm going to see if I can't get that one on the other side in. You coming over? Yeah? Alright. Not sure if you can see over here. Got it? Alright, you're good. That making it a lot easier. So, you gotta take that spring off to get this back on. Now I'll grab my 9/16 wrench. So this lever here that I'm working on is what controls it to go forward and backward. Alright, so that one's tight. Tighten this one up. So have you owned one of these before? Was it really this much work? Or did you have an easier way? Comment down there if you had an easier way. Alright, there it is. What do you think? Should we take it outside? Make sure it goes forward and backwards now with that new belt? Absolutely. Alright, so that's that. Belt's working good. Gears are working. I know it needs a gear lube change in the transmission. So, thanks for watching. Look for the next video. I'm going to pull the tines off and I'm going to re-grease all that inside there, because moving that lever back and forth to disengage and engage the spline, the tines, they're kind of sticking. So, thanks for watching.